Backed by popular demand, today at Analytical Strategy, we're going to be delving into some more Survivor rule breakers. These survivors may break the rules unintentionally. They may wish to deliberately make life more difficult for the other contestants on their tribe, or in some circumstances, they have even broken federal laws in the country they have been privileged enough to visit. If you are yet to see part 1 of this video, it will be linked in the description below. And if you are new to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button, as each and every subscription really means a lot. Many of the rule breaks featured in this video were recommended by members of this community, putting them down in the comments, so I really appreciate the input and appreciate you making these videos possible. Alright, so without further ado, let's get into more times contestants broke the rules on Survivor. So first off, we have to include the attack zone within Survivor Thailand, and this was the most recommended rule break in the comments of my previous video. This challenge was actually titled Pilfering Pirates, where the contestants had to race across a bamboo course over water to steal a basket from the opposing team's boat, and then return it to their own tribe's boat where they started the challenge. However, there was a zone on this course, known as the attack zone, where the castaways could physically knock each other off the course and into the water. But if at any point a member was not in the attack zone when they made contact, they would be disqualified from the challenge. Now sure, we may expect this to happen maybe once in the challenge, especially after Jeff highlighted these rules at the beginning, but oh no how wrong we were, with Ken, Rob, Stephanie and Jed all becoming the first contestants to be disqualified from a challenge for engaging with their opponents outside of the designated attack zone. Not only were they disqualified, they lost a basket from their boat, which was transferred to the other tribe's boat, enabling them to win this amazing reward of getting the privilege with 2 Thai red berets. A really crazy challenge looking back on it now. So the next Survivor rule break we are discussing not only really occurred within the Survivor rulebook, but more so towards a federal law in Australia, and this occurred in Season 2 of Survivor the Australian Outback, and this is when Colby decided to take coral from the Great Barrier Reef, one of the 7 natural wonders of the world, and the world's largest reef coral system. This system is slowly being impacted by climate change, so it is very important to keep the coral within there. Colby not only took coral for himself, but he also dished it out like candy when he returned back to his tribe. This also ties into another rule break that occurred within the exact same reward challenge, and this is where they flew the helicopter around seabird rookeries, which were classified as particularly sensitive areas. Both of these rule breaks were under investigation by the authorities of the reef in Australia. The Australian law states you cannot take any coral from this site, and the fine for it was $110,000, which I believe CBS paid on Colby's behalf. Mark Burnett had to make a public apology for this instance and mistake which was made, which the show deeply regretted. So the next rule break, we are going to change the tide a little bit, going from a federal rule break to more of a humorous one that occurred when Pagong attended their very first tribal council in Survivor Borneo. Each contestant at this tribal wrote down the name of Jeff Probst as they cast their vote to vote someone out, and this was apparently to Jeff's displeasure. It resulted in obviously a revote occurring, with BB being the first voted out of the Pagong tribe, but also Jeff having to hold a meeting with production to ensure this didn't happen again in the future, as it did really stress him out with him being the first season of Survivor and him having a lot of pressure on him as the host of the show. I feel like if this occurred today with Jeff being a much more comfortable and experienced host, he would find it as funny as the contestants intended it to be. We will now move on from old school Survivor all the way up to David vs Goliath, where we will discuss 2 rule breaks that occurred this season. The first is a strong rumour that I'm not entirely sure has been completely confirmed or not, which revolves around finalist Mike White and him smuggling in THC pills into the game. So THC is the main compound within marijuana, and could have resulted in Mike facing disqualification this season. Firstly, as this compound can be seen as a performance enhancing drug, as it could have assisted his focus when it came down to challenges, and allowed him to compete more effectively, and it could have also been used as a sleep aid in the restless nights that you face out there. But again, this could also come back to federal laws of the country the contestants are living within, with the possession of marijuana in Fiji resulting in a 3-month prison sentence, so the result of these accusations could have been very severe. The other rule break in David vs Goliath, which has been 100% confirmed, and that was when Alec broke his non-disclosure agreement when he decided to deliberately post a picture of himself and Kara on social media prior to the release of the show. As they were dating when this picture was posted, it was not only a spoiler in terms of casting, but it was also an indicator that they were on the same tribe and likely to be in an alliance together. Due to this, Alec was unable to attend the reunion show, and he wasn't entitled to his appearance fee for the reunion show either. So another modern Survivor season where an attempted but not successful rule break occurred was in Survivor Game Changers, where Cirie attempted to use Sarah's own advantage against her, unfortunately without reading the fine print. Within this episode, Ty and Aubrey decided to target Sarah to go home, but this information was fed to Cirie, who informed Sarah of Ty's plan. However, Sarah didn't believe that Ty would turn on her and therefore gave Cirie her stealer vote advantage as a sign of trust. As Sarah didn't believe her, Cirie came up with a plan to use this advantage to steal the very person's vote who gave her this advantage in Sarah, as a way to look as though she was voting for Sarah, but ultimately her intention was to ensure that both her vote and Sarah's vote went towards Ty to go home. Upon Cirie revealing that she wished to steal this vote, it was actually revealed that this advantage was non-transferable, so it was a huge credit to Sarah being able to use this as a tool to attempt to reel in trust, as she knew it couldn't be used against her. Due to this, she decided to steal Ty's vote for safety, and then pair up with her alliance in Brad and Troyzan to take out Cirie's right-hand woman in Michaela. It was a really crazy tribal council, and although it wasn't a successful rule break by Cirie, she really did her best to pull off what would have been an insane move to get rid of Ty and both of his idols. So the next few rule breaks are a result of stealing, not only from each other but also from production. Within Survivor Heroes vs Villains, it was revealed in an interview with Jerry and Sandra that Boston Rob and Tyson snuck off to a member of the crew's boat from the production team, and stole gasoline to assist in creating a fire. Now, whilst this has been confirmed, I have absolutely no idea of how they were able to get away with this logistically, especially as Tyson and Rob are two huge personalities in this season, and I'm surprised they didn't have multiple cameras on them at all times, but somehow they were able to get away with it, and it assisted in their tribe greatly in the survival component of the game. The other examples of stealing regarded stealing from contestants in the game. So firstly was the great Rupert, stealing from the other tribe within the opening of Pearl Islands, to use as a resource to obtain more foods and items for his own tribe when bartering with the local villagers. Now there is no doubt in my mind that production knew this was against the rules, but it fit the theme of the season too perfectly, and Rupert as a character was way too perfect they had to let it continue for television purposes. Rupert played into the pirate persona exquisitely, and it just had to be included within this season and the final edit. Another example of stealing was when Julie stole Philip's shorts in Survivor Redemption Island and hid them under a rock. This is a pretty interesting one, as again, I feel like production left this one alone purely for the entertainment value of this scene overall. Philip is obviously being a character, walking around in his pink underwear and eventually being able to find his shorts, and this again was a fantastic television moment, in what is considered a relatively underwhelming season of Survivor. It makes me think at times that production picks and chooses a little bit, if and when a rule break is acceptable depending on who it impacts overall, and overall what type of television it would make. And finally, in a scene that didn't appear in the final edit within our most recent season of Survivor Winners at War, we have Rob and Natalie supposedly stealing peanut butter from Parvati and Danny. Parvati bought 2 jars of peanut butter and gave one to Rob, Natalie and Amber, and kept one for herself, Ethan and Danny. Once Natalie and Rob polished off their own jar, they apparently stole Parvati's other jar and ate everything that was left within it. This is another one I am unsure why production did not step in, as it seems similar to stealing an advantage in the game, as Parvati decided to purchase it with her tokens and keep one jar without willing it to anyone. How is this any different to stealing an advantage? I'm not sure if this one just wasn't seen on the edge by production, but it is definitely a rule break in my eyes by these contestants. So there you have it, another range of different rule breaks that have occurred in Survivor history. If you are enjoying these types of videos, make sure to support the channel through liking and subscribing, as there are a range of new and unique videos to come in the future. Thank you so much for watching. This is Analytical Strategy and we are signing out once again. I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.